Hi everyone, welcome to channel Qtomation. In today's session, we will understand the concept of serialization and deserialization process. So far we have seen how to send requests by using REST assured. In API testing, when we send request, we send it in JSON or XML format. And when it receives response from server, that is also in JSON or XML format. When we are working on REST assured, we have seen different ways of creating request body in REST assured. What are the different ways we have seen so far? By using POJO, that is plain old Java objects. We have also seen how to construct payload by using hashmap object. So basically by using object, we have seen how to create request payload which needs to be sent in REST assured. But if you understand, whenever that request payload, so for example in post request we have to send a request body as well, but when we send that body it has to be in JSON or XML format when it goes to network. So even though we have used POJO or hashmap objects while creating a request payload, but when it goes to the network it is always in JSON or XML format. We don't send objects directly into the network. So whenever we send the request body or request payload in network, it is in JSON or XML format. And also when we receive the response, it is initially in JSON or XML format and that gets converted into object later on. So why we don't send Java objects directly over the network in REST? Because Java objects are not universally readable outside of the Java environment. Only Java can understand the Java object, but JSON format is universally understood format. JSON format is human readable and language independent, whereas Java object is JVM specific binary format. And if you send Java object directly into the network, it cannot be parsed by other system like Python, JavaScript, etc. Whereas JSON format is easily parsed by any system. And Java object is not suitable for HTTP transport because it is not lightweight. Whereas JSON format is very lightweight and suited for HTTP. That's why in REST assured, when we create the object that is called POJO, so we have seen by using POJO we can first construct the request payload and that payload we can send to the network, but that is in JSON format. And when we receive the response from the network, it will be also in JSON format. Then it get converted into POJO or plain old Java object. So that conversion, that is the conversion from POJO to JSON while sending the request, is called as serialization. And when response is received, it is in JSON format and that gets converted into again object, that is called as a deserialization. So converting object that is POJO to JSON is called as a serialization, and conversion of JSON to object is called as a deserialization. So we have to understand this concept. So conversion of POJO, that is object, to JSON format is called as a serialization, and conversion of JSON to object is called as a deserialization. So in REST assured, it is automatically handled. So when we use REST assured, this conversion from POJO to JSON, that is serialization, and conversion of JSON to object is called deserialization. Both these processes are internally handled by REST assured. But We should know this concept because in interview you might be asked to explain what is serialization and what is deserialization. So serialization means conversion of object POJO to JSON, and then it will be sent to network as a request payload. And when we receive the response in the form of JSON, we have to convert it again back to POJO, that is called as a deserialization. So if you see this slide, you can understand. So when we create any object, so we have seen previous examples as well, where we have created POJO objects and then we have sent those POJO object to request payload. So in between that, it gets converted into object to stream of bytes. So this is a Java object and stream of bytes means JSON request payload. So that object gets converted to stream of bytes and then it is sent to network. And when we receive the response, that is again in the form of JSON or XML, and that gets converted into Java object, that is called as a deserialization. So this is a high level understanding of serialization and deserialization. So when we want to send any post request by using payload, we first create object. So by using POJO or by using hash map, we have to create the object, POJO object. And that POJO object we cannot send directly to the network. So REST will internally convert that object into JSON format, that is stream of bytes. And that JSON request payload will be sent to network. And similarly, when we receive the response, that is again in the form of JSON and that gets converted into object form, that is called as a deserialization. So what is serialization? So serialization is the process of converting Java object into JSON or XML format that needs to be sent in request body. For example, post or put request. And REST assured supports multiple libraries. So by default in REST assured, for this serialization process, it uses Jackson library. We will see practical example as well. And what is deserialization? Deserialization means process of converting JSON or XML from the response to Java objects. It is called as a deserialization process. So what is serialization and deserialization? So I hope you have understood the concept of behind serialization and deserialization. So in our practical example, we will not send any request. We will not send any actual request or we will not get any response. But what we will explain is we will see how it gets converted from POJO to JSON and deserialization means JSON to POJO. So now let's see some example, then we will understand. So we don't have to send actual request. We just have to see the conversion of POJO to JSON and JSON to POJO, that is deserialization. So let's assume that we have some request body. Now let's assume that this is a request body. This is a JSON request body which we have to send in request as a payload. So this is in which format? This is in JSON format. So we have previously seen the examples. When we are using REST assured, we first create POJO class. So I want to use POJO technique. So I have to create one employee POJO class, and that POJO class object I will use to construct this request payload. So let's create one employee POJO class. So I will just create new class. Let's name it as employee underscore POJO. So let's finish it. And how to create a POJO class? We have already seen in our previous sessions. First, let's see this body. What are the different type of variables present in this? ID, name, department. So for that we have to create private variables. Let's say private integer ID. So according to this request body, we have to create variable. So ID is in the form of integer. Then we have to create private string for name, private string department, designation for email, and for salary. Salary is in the form of again integer. So I have created these variables. So I'm just creating a Pojo class now, employee Pojo class. Now after that, what we have to do, we have to create getters and setters. So what is the method to create getters and setters? Just right click on this, go to source, generate getter and setters, select all, and generate. So it will automatically create all the getters and setters method for this variable. So according to this request body, I have created one employee Pojo class. Now this is a employee Pojo class. Now we have to create object of this employee Pojo class. I am just minimizing this. So we have created this Pojo class now. Now let's create one test file. New class. Let's name it as, first I will show you example of serialization. So I'm just naming it as serialization demo. So this is a class in which we will see how we can convert Pojo to JSON. So we are going to convert Pojo object to JSON format. So before that, first let's create one method, void Pojo to JSON. First we will see Pojo to JSON. So this is the name of the method I have created. Let's give @test annotation. Let's import testng annotations. Now in this, what we can do, we have to first create the object of employee Pojo class. First we have to create the object. First we have to create the object from this employee Pojo class. So let's create new object of employee Pojo. This is the object of new employee Pojo class. So I'm just copying this. So we have created the object. We have already seen this, how to create a Pojo class, how to create a Pojo class object, how to set the data by using that Pojo class object for which needs to be sent in request payload. So now I will just set the data for this Pojo class object. So employee Pojo class object dot, we have to use set method. So first let's set the ID. So if you see the request body, according to that we will create the request now. So set ID 101. We have set the ID. After that, let's set another parameter, that is name, emppojo dot set name. Then we have to set department. After setting department, we have to set designation. Then we have to set the email, emppojo dot email set email. And then we have to set the salary as well. That's it. So what we have done is we have created one employee Pojo class. Then in our class file, for our test file, let's say we have to create object of that Pojo class. And by using object of that Pojo class, we have to set the data. So now this is a Pojo object, which is in which format? Which is in object format. We cannot send, so when we use rest assured, we cannot send this object directly to the network. So when we have seen the examples previously, we have used rest assured where we have created the Pojo object and then we have passed that object by using rest assured. But internally, rest assured will convert that object to JSON format. So eventually, when the request payload is sent to the network, that will be in this format only. That will be sent in the form of JSON format only. So how that conversion happens? So how this object is getting converted into this JSON format? That we will see now. So what I will do, so rest assured internally uses Jackson library for conversion from object to JSON. So now we will convert Pojo object to JSON. So how to convert this Pojo to JSON? So this is a Pojo object. It is in the object format. We have to convert that into JSON format. So for that we have to use one class, that is object mapper. So we have to use one class object mapper and we have to create one object of this object mapper class. Let's say new object mapper and we have to import this. So we have to import this object mapper from which package? As I said earlier, rest assured uses which library? Jackson library. So if you see, we have to import the object mapper from com.fasterxml.jackson.databind. Do not use this second object mapper package, because if you use this second one, rest assured one, then it will not work correctly. We have to import this object mapper from Jackson package. So we have to import this object mapper. Then we have created one object of this class. And now by using this object, so by using this object, we can convert this Pojo object to JSON format. So we have to use one method that is called as write with default pretty printer. Write with default pretty printer. So this is a method. Again we have to use dot and we have to convert that into string format. So write value as string. So we have to use write value as string, and in this we have to pass this object which we have created. So this employee Pojo object we have to pass to this method. So what it will do is it will convert. So by using this object mapper class object, by using write with default pretty printer dot write value as string, in which we have to pass this employee Pojo object. So it will convert this in the form of JSON. So it will convert this JSON, it will convert this object format into a JSON format. And then we have to store this in one string. So let's say string JSON data equal to this one. So what this will do, this will store JSON format data of this employee Pojo class object into this string. So let's add throws declaration. Now save this. And if you print this JSON data now, it should give you this JSON body. So from the object format, from that employee Pojo object, you will get this JSON constructed request payload. So now if you use system dot out.println, in which we will just print this JSON data. So if you print this JSON data, now let me just use JSON data is control S, and let's execute this file, run as test ng test. So when you execute this, you will should if you see now, JSON data is this one. So from that employee Pojo object, we have converted that object into this JSON request. So now this payload will be sent into our request, whatever you want to send by using rest assured. So this is process called as a serialization process. So we have created one employee Pojo class. Then we have created object of that employee Pojo class. Then we have set the data in that employee Pojo class object. And then we have used object mapper class to convert that employee Pojo object to JSON format. So by using write with default pretty printer dot write value as string, in which we have to pass this employee Pojo class object, and it will convert that into a JSON format request. So that we have stored in this JSON data, and when you print it, it will show you the actual request payload which is converted into JSON format. So now this is the request payload. So we have done the serialization process to convert Pojo object to JSON format, and this will be sent to the network. So we will not actually send the request. We have to just understand the concept. So how that converted into from Pojo object to JSON format. That was our main motive of this example. So we are successfully converted that into JSON data in the string format. So this is called as a serialization process. So this is called as a serialization process. Now let's see deserialization process as well. So this is conversion of Pojo object to JSON format. That is called as a serialization. But once you receive the request, which is in the JSON or XML format, and then we have to convert that into object format. So that is called as a deserialization. So let me create a new class. I'm naming it as deserialization demo. So I'm just creating a new class in which we will see how we can convert JSON format to object format. That is called as a deserialization. So again, let's create one method, JSON to Pojo. So previously we have seen serialization for Pojo to JSON, but now we will see how to convert JSON to Pojo format. So we have created one method. Let's give @test annotation. Now we have to convert JSON format to Pojo format. So let's take an example of same request. Now if you see, this is a JSON format. So we have to convert, let's say you have received the response which is in this JSON format. So REST will convert back into Pojo format. So this is a response payload, let's say you are receiving. Now we have to convert that into again Pojo format. So first what I will do, I will just copy this. We have to convert this JSON to Pojo format. So I'm just copying this JSON form. I will just create one string variable, let's say string JSON data equal to, I will just copy that. So in double quotes, I will just paste the request, not the request, but the response. So let's assume this is a response which is in JSON format. So when you paste it in Eclipse, it will automatically perform some regular expression, because if you see in within double quotes there are double quotes, right? So we are using string format, so within double quotes there are again double quotes present in this JSON format. So Java will automatically convert those into some expressions so that it will understand properly. So if you see before these double quotes, they have added some backslash as well. So these are called as a regular expression. It will automatically get converted. So this is basically a JSON data which is in the string format. This is basically a JSON data like this only. So when you paste it in Eclipse, it automatically converts into some different format. So it is just handling all those double quotes. So now this is our JSON data which we want to convert into Pojo object. So now we want to convert this JSON, converting JSON data to Java object. So we want to convert this JSON data to Pojo object. So again we have to use object mapper class. Object mapper class. We have to create the object of that class. New object mapper. So we have created the object of that class. Let's import that object mapper from fasterxml.jackson package. And now after creating this, let's now we have created the object of this object mapper class. After that, now what we are going to do, we are converting to this JSON data to employee Pojo class. So by using this object mapper class object dot, we have to use one method that is called as a read value. Inside this read value method, we have to pass this JSON data. So this is a string format JSON data which we are storing in this JSON data object. So that we have to pass here. So this will basically understand that this is the string format of that JSON which we want to convert to Pojo object. But for which Pojo class object we have to convert? So employee dot Pojo. So employee underscore Pojo, that is the class name, employee underscore Pojo dot class. So this will create the object of employee Pojo class. So it will create, so this statement will create employee Pojo class object, and that we have to store in which variable? Again we have to store it in employee class object. So employee underscore Pojo, let's say emp Pojo. So I'm just creating employee Pojo class object. Let's throw the declaration. So for exception handling we have to use this. And if you see now, objm, that is object mapper class object dot read value, in this we have to pass the JSON data which we want to convert into Pojo, but it will, in which class object we have to convert it? So employee Pojo dot class. So this statement will create, this will return one object. This specific statement will return one object of employee Pojo class type. So it will return employee Pojo class object. So that's what we are storing it this in employee Pojo class object. So this string data, that is JSON data, which is in string format, will get converted to this employee Pojo class object. Now this is called as a deserialization. So this entire JSON data now got converted into this employee Pojo class object. Now by using this employee Pojo class object, we can print the data. For example, let's say I want to check emp Pojo dot get. So now we have to use get method. So get id, get email, get designation, these are basically getter methods. So let's say get id, it will print the id of that employee object. Similarly we can check for other values as well. So control C, employee Pojo dot get name, let's say get name, get department, get salary. So all the values we can fetch from, all the information we can fetch from that object for that employee class Pojo. So just understand. So now if I execute this, let's execute. If you see, this is the id, this is a name, this is a designation, this is salary. So we are able to fetch the data by using that employee Pojo class object. So I hope you have understood this. So what we have done here is, This is a JSON data. This is a JSON data which we have stored in this JSON data string format. Then we have to convert the JSON data to Java object. So we have created object mapper class object, and then we have to use one method called as read value, in which we have to pass the JSON data, and we have to mention that it should get converted into employee underscore pojo class object. It will return the object of employee pojo class. So this is called as a deserialization process. So conversion of this JSON format data into pojo object, and then by using that pojo object we can get the information like id, name, department, and salary, etc. So this process called as a deserialization process. So we have seen both the examples. So rest assured will internally convert the response which is received in the JSON format, that gets converted into pojo or object format. So that is called as a deserialization. We have also seen serialization. Conversion of pojo to JSON is called as a serialization, and converting JSON to pojo is called as a deserialization. So that is the concept of serialization and deserialization. So I hope you have understood this session. In the next session, we will see some more interesting topic of rest assured. So thanks for watching this